Hi, and welcome to the Virgin River Cafe Rewatch podcast. Welcome, Gigi.
Welcome, my friend. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. It's been a little chilly considering we're in middle of April. I don't know, the weather's kind of weird, but whatever. April showers bring May flowers. Isn't that what they say? We've had a little bit of rain lately. I'm not hating it because, here in Southern California, we don't get a lot of that wet stuff that falls from the sky. So we appreciate it anytime we can get it. Our hills are nice and green, which is rare, but we're going to take it. How about you?
We're doing good here in Northern California. We got rain and things are looking good. And the problem with rain is, we in California can't drive in that stuff.
No, people just, the second it rains, everyone loses their mind. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life.
The water hits the ground and we lose.
People lose their mind. It's crazy. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It's water, people. It's water.
I know. Let's just say we've had some interesting accidents around here.
Oh my God.
But otherwise things are good. It's
That's good.
As you said, it will help with the summer because it's gonna be a scorcher.
Always.
So that will at least help some of it, and hopefully, especially at your end, with some water, the fires won't be too bad.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope. We've hopefully we get a little bit of a reprieve. The wind doesn't kick up until October, so hopefully the summer's not too hot because then it makes dry brush and then we have problems. But we'll see.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
Anyway, so what are you drinking today, my friend?
Today I just have my lovely little iced coffee. I have some cookie butter flavor. I haven't had cookie butter in a while, so I thought I'd do some cookie butter today. Just my basic iced coffee. I made it myself today. I didn't feel like going out. It's morning, and I was all snuggly. This morning, I didn't feel like getting up and getting dressed and getting out and going to get coffee, so I made it myself at home. I have a lot of options at home. I have many options at home.
I did something similar, but I went on the tea road.
Oh, okay.
A lot of my friends have lemon tree, lime and lemon tree.
Oh, cool.
So I have an abundance of frozen. I squeeze and I freeze a lot. So, and I'm a big ginger fan. So I kind of made myself a ginger and lemon tea this morning. Went down really well. It also helps clear up my system. My skin looks fabulous.
Wonderful.
So I'm good. So that's my morning brew for this lovely day. So
good. Nice. That's a good way to start the day.
It is. You start nice and fresh.
Good.
Because you never know where it's going to go from there.
I know, right? All right. Well, are you ready? Shall we delve into our finale?
This is going to be a good one, folks.
Yeah, this is a good one. This is one we've been waiting for.
Yep.
Next season's a little rough, so we're like trying to hold on to the happy for as long as we can.
I know. All right, folks.
All right, let's get started.
Okay, we are in last of season 4, episode 12, which is called The Long Goodbye.
Okay, so the description says, Mel and Jack finally receive the results they have been waiting for. Lizzie organizes a send-off for Ricky before speaking to Denny about his secret. Ooh, and off we go. So when we left our friends in Virgin River, we were right literally in the middle of Jack's proposal. Remember, the two of them were sitting enjoying the lake and the river and by the Airstream and hot chocolate. And I guess it's like they were testing out the Airstream. Like, what are people going to experience if they stay in this glamping thing that we're trying to create? And she went in and she got some more hot chocolate, and she comes out after he changed the song to Have a Little Faith in Me. Great song, which is, it's kind of very apropos because of all the problems they were having previous, like him not being able to be trusted with the drinking. And so it's sort of like a little extra like please have faith in me. I'm going to be a good guy. I'm doing it all right. I'm here for you. So it was very apropos. And she comes out and sees him knelt down, and he starts his proposal. Just, Jack. And his eyes are tearing, and he asks her, and then they cut it off. They left us on a cliff.
Yeah, of course they did.
So we get to kind of relive that again, because they can't just start at that point. So here we are, and he's knelt down, and I think we get to relive it from the beginning. He's like, so what I'm asking is, Mel Monroe, will you marry me? And if you remember, she paused for like a hot second, and that's when they cut it. All they literally did was cut the scene. She didn't really pause. Like they made it sound like she was thinking about it or needed more time or whatever. Yeah. All they did was stop pause it right there. Because if you watch that episode, she literally stops for like a split second and then immediately shakes her head yes. And that's exactly what happened. She shook her head vigorously yes, and she's like, of course I'll marry you, yes. Duh. And he stands up and he kisses her. So cute. And he's like, you took your time to answer, like, because she paused for a second, and she's like, I'm sorry. And he goes, oh, wait, we got to do this. And then he forgets. He gets the ring, and she holds her hand out, and she's like, it's so pretty. And he puts it on her finger, and they give a big smile and a kiss. Yay, they're engaged.
Yeah, it's about bloody time.
Which is funny because it's not. It's been 5 months. I know. Exactly.
But the point is, for us, it's been 4 years.
It's been 4 years. I know. And then we have the drone shot, which is like pulling out from the two of them, hugging and kissing. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful scene. I love that so much because it's so pretty. So now we have our transition, which is looking at the Virgin River, and 2 days later. Occasionally they do that. Now we are in a different little town. It's a nice overview. Oh, and here we are, Mel and Jack in bed in a very swanky hotel. Because, they're taking a moment. So cute. And he's looking at her ring, and she's looking at him. And she's like, it's beautiful, as they lay in bed together. She's like, I still can't believe you got us a suite. And he's like, I think the occasion calls for something more extravagant than the Airstream, which I agree. Really nice hotel. I mean, beautiful hotel. Yeah. So cute. She goes, well, I'm feeling very spoiled. Thank you. They're so cute. And then the cell phone chimes, and he's like, oh, come on. And she rolls over. She grabs her phone, and she looks at it, and it says, Dr. Lorton. From her doctor, remember the OBGYN? And she's like, check your email. This was fast. Now, if you remember, many moons ago, DNA tests and all of that took weeks.
Oh, yeah.
Weeks and months. So long. I mean, they're going to eventually do it to the point that they can find out in an hour. But, 2 days is pretty darn quick.
Yeah.
So Mel looks at her phone, and she sees that it's Dr. Lorton and says, check her email. And Jack thinks it's work or something. And she's like, no, it's, and she looks back at him, and she goes, it's the lab results from our paternity test. And he's like, well, that was like 2 days ago. And she's like, I know, she put a rush on it. And she grabs her laptop, and she's just kind of sitting there contemplating all of this. This is something that she really, really, really wanted to know, but does she really, really, really want to know? Like, oh, it's so hard.
Yeah.
This could change the course of their life. And she says, so what do you want to do?
Yeah.
And he's like, what are my options? And they both kind of chuckle because it's a joke. Okay. And she's like, we can open it now. And she goes, or we can wait till we go home. And he's like, or next year. And she's like, she goes, do you want me to just delete it? And he's like, no, I'm just kidding. He goes, unless you want to. And she's like, no. And he's like, what? Because he's looking at her, and she's sad. And she's like, it's just, she's like, I've been thinking about this moment ever since I got pregnant. And now that we're finally here, and as he rubs her shoulder, she's like, what if it's not? He goes, hey, if it's not, we will be upset and disappointed. Sure. He goes, we always knew that was a possibility from the beginning, right? And she kind of shakes her head and he goes, so we'll deal. We'll move on and we'll focus on starting our family. He goes, I don't care what that email says. I love you. And I'm going to love our baby so much. Oh, his dimples are so cute. She's like, I love you too.
I'm telling you.
And she's like, I'm sorry. And she's sad. And he's like, why? She goes, we wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for me. And he's like, oh, no, hey. He goes, this is not your fault. I've never thought that. I never will. She goes, if I hadn't gone to the clinic, I hadn't broke. She's like, if I hadn't gone to the clinic. And he's like, if I hadn't broken up with you. He goes, listen, we're not here because of you or me. We're here because of us. He goes, we might not be perfect, but we're together. And that's the only thing that matters, you and me. He goes, look, we got this. Gives a little kiss. They always do the double kisses. It's cute. He goes, okay, come on. She's like, okay. They decide to look. So she scoots down in the bed and he scoots behind her. Everyone always comments that he puts his hand on her hip under the covers and stuff. It's funny. People have lots of comments. So they're looking at the results.
Wow.
And it says the father is not excluded as the biological. And he's like, not excluded? So they're like trying to, he's looking at it like, I have no idea what I'm reading. And he's just reading it out loud.
Exactly.
And she's reading it. And she kind of takes a deep breath with a smile. And she's like, it means you're the father. And he's like, what? And she smiles and she goes, it means that you're the father. And she slams it shut. And she goes, and we're having a girl. And she kind of sits up and looks at him. And he's like, holy crap. She's like, yeah. He goes, we're having a little girl? And she's like, yeah. So he grabs her face. It's so cute. And they're kissy kiss with the sun in the background. He's like, I'm so happy right now. Finally. So we get Mark and his mother out of their lives forever.
Out of it.
That was the
exactly
last connection they had to Mark and the mother and all of that. So there's no reason that they will have any ties, nothing. They're done. Thank God.
Exactly. Because now she used all the eggs.
Yep.
She used all the donors.
Yep.
Stuff.
All the the last 2 eggs have been used. They did not create a baby. It's Jack's baby, and we can move on, and they can move on. And they're already getting, so that whole like problem that they would have had with her, with Cassandra and all of that is now gone. And also, Charmaine has come around, has softened up a bit, and has allowed for Jack to be a part of the baby's lives without a problem. So the fight...
He's going to have that problem with Charmaine.
Well, and he thought this was going to be a fight and he was going to have to deal with Todd. And she's like, no, remember she said, Todd's not going to fight me. Remember, you're the dad. So that whole problem about fighting for custody and a court case and lawyer fees and all of that he was dreading. Remember when that lawyer came to chat with him and was telling him how much it was going to cost? He was dreading that. Now that case is gone too, because Charmaine is going to be a normal person about it and be human and let him have, whatever he needs with the babies. So they can actually, like, they're at the point where the court cases are now they're not existent. They can move on with their lives and figure out what they want to do, which is really nice. They finally can focus on themselves because there was so much extra stuff going on. Good Lord. Okay, so we're at Brady's house, and he's cooking in the kitchen, and Bree's like, oh, I didn't hear you get up. So he's cooking her breakfast, and she's like, what's all this? And he's like, well, decided you deserve better than an empty fridge. He made bacon and eggs. He's so cute. He's adorable.
Because she's lucky she lives under a restaurant.
Yes, she can eat whenever, and she eats for free. Like, Jack's going to charge her for food.
Exactly. And on top of that, she eats really good food because a preacher.
Right.
So.
Yeah. So, I mean, and it's really hard to mess up breakfast, but so Brady's so sweet cooking her breakfast, and he asks her, he's like, hey, did you get a chance to look over that pamphlet that Mel gave me. Remember, he went to talk to Mel and got a pamphlet about like rape survivors and information for people that are associated with them, and just to give information and in case she needs any help. And she's like, Brady, you don't have to worry about me. I'm okay. He's like, I want you to be honest with me. You know, if you're handling it or whatever. He goes, I want you to know that I'm here to help you. She goes, yeah, but I don't want everything to be about that. And he goes, if I touch you. She's like, Brady, stop. Like, he's just worried. She's like, I don't want you to walk around on eggshells. Mm-hmm. I want you to be like you were before.
Right.
He's like, I don't know if something's going. She's like, if something's going on with me, I will tell you. Okay? And he's like, got it. She's like, be honest with your feelings too. He's like, yeah. So they agree. And he's like, God, you're always negotiating. He goes, yeah, because that's what I'm good at. I'm like, oh, I love you.
I know a few of those.
I love you. Now we've got Doc and Hope, and they're still negotiating about this. Does she need help? Is she going to get an aid? He's like, all I'm saying is that I would be happy to find an aid for you.
Okay, stop for a minute.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is I don't know who is in more deserving of a heart attack at this present moment between the two of them.
Right?
Because they're each getting each other's nerves.
Uh-huh.
I mean, I'm surprised collapsed yet, just trying to negotiate with this woman.
I know. She is a tough nut to crack. And she's like, I am perfectly capable of hiring my own sitter. Thank you very much. He wants to be a part of the process. He wants to make sure she's actually going to do it. Because, you know, she has a history of saying she's going to do something and then doing the opposite.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So she's baking and cooking.
To do anything she doesn't want to do is, you know.
Yeah.
So.
And then she's like, besides, I'm the one who has to spend time with this person. Mm-hmm. So she said, so I should be the one who makes the decision. He's like, well, I was just going to set up some interviews. She goes, good gravy. We're not hiring a CEO. She's like, so what do you have in mind? She goes, I was thinking about Lizzie, which is a really great idea. And Doc's like, oh. And she's like, she did a great job with my plants, and they're much more temperamental than I am. And he laughs. He goes, yeah, that's funny. He goes, Lizzie, that's a really good idea. She goes, that was Chuck's idea. And he goes, Chuck? Who's that? He goes, my one good brain cell. So the phone rings, and Doc grabs it, and he's like, hello? Hold, please. Denny, it's for you. He goes, oh, he'll be here in a second. Hands the phone to Denny. He's like, hello? He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, I can do that. Got it. Thanks. Bye. And he hangs up. And he goes, the doctor said my test results confirmed I was just dehydrated. Because remember, he just passed out. So I'm supposed to increase my fluid intake. He goes, well, that seems easy enough. And he goes, yeah, it's totally not a big deal. He goes, yeah, but Doc is like, you need to start taking better care of yourself. And Denny's like, definitely. And he leaves. And Doc follows them. He's like, look, wait. He goes, I'm very concerned about you. And he's like, I appreciate that, but I have to do this my way. He goes, what if you've been driving or hiking? You know, you could have fallen, hit your head. And he goes, I could get hit by a bus. I can't worry about every little thing. And Doc's like, but there are things that you could be doing and should be doing. Hope's like, Vernon, aren't you overreacting? And he's like, well, you know, probably.
Oh, well, you know, they're trying to overprotect. They're trying to be, you know,
grandparents,
but not too overprotective.
Grandparents. Yeah. Because he's never had a child or you know, I mean, the closest he's ever come is Mel. So, and he, you know, obviously he cares about her, you know, but so Hope's like, come join me in the kitchen. And just as Vernon leaves to go back into the kitchen, he gives Denny a look like, dude, you better pay attention. You better take care of yourself. I'm watching. You know, it's that look, that stern, like I'm watching you. So Denny's obviously hiding something. We're going to find out what that is eventually. Yep. So now we're with Preacher, and he's just staring out the window, drinking a cup of coffee, and down the hall comes Connie into the kitchen. And she's like, he's still sleeping, poor little lamb. And he's like, did he say anything last night? And Connie's like, he doesn't understand why Paige isn't back yet. And Preacher's like, well, what did you tell him? Connie's like, well, I told him that she had to fly to Florida for work. What exactly does she do that she has to like travel? It's so bizarre. Like this kid, who knows what they've told him about her. I mean, she has a bakery truck, so why would she need to go to Florida? That's just my question. That's just me. It just doesn't make any sense. But he's 8, so, or 10 or whatever. And maybe he just does. He seems like a really smart kid. He knows what's going on. I just think they don't give him credit for knowing what's going on. So Preacher's like, I'm going to go back to the cabin. Hopefully, maybe they'll turn up there. Connie, of course, is very worried. She's like, Preacher, leave this with the sheriff. It's too dangerous. He goes, nope, I'm going. He goes, and when he wakes up, you take him back to your house until I get home. She's like, of course I can. He goes, listen, I appreciate everything that you've done. He goes, just remember, no one will know he's here. No one. Because remember, he's got to be a secret right now. Nobody knows Paige was in town. Nobody knows Christopher came back. Everything is a secret until they figure out what's going on. So they've just got to keep him on the down low for now. And she grabs him by his jacket, his lapels of his jacket. She's like, and you promised me to be careful too. I mean, she sort of adopted him as sort of like a son, you know.
Exactly. And the thing about it, keeping a secret in this town is very hard. Yeah. Very hard.
Well, it's like Connie will, if Connie's like, oh, I'm just feeling under the weather to try and stay out of town, people will show up at her house with like soup, you know, and check on her because that's the kind of people they are. So she has to be very discreet as to staying out of town and keeping him hidden. It's going to be very interesting. Hopefully it doesn't take too long because, you know, if she's out of sight too long, people will start wondering and they're going to come after her. They're going to start looking for her. So Preacher's like, I will be careful.
And she's everywhere. She runs the local, you know, the local grocery store, as they would say, shop.
Yep.
And she's part of the quilt group.
Yep, and the bakery truck. And she's just around. She's just always around.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Preacher tells her, she's like, you tell Christopher that I'll be home as soon as I can. She's like, I will. And off he goes. Man with a plan. So he grabs his gun, which is in a gun safe, makes sure that it's loaded, sticks it behind the back of his jeans, and out the door he goes. A beautiful scenery shot, over the river, over the mountains. Mel walks in to the clinic. She's like, hey, Doc, I'm sorry I'm late. He goes, oh, don't worry about it, as he's coming downstairs with a box. He goes, how was your mini getaway? She goes, well, actually, Jack surprised me. And she holds up her hand with an engagement ring on it. And he goes, oh, he did good. And she's like, yeah, he did. So cute. So she's very happy.
Yes.
He's like, gives her a big hug. Congratulations. She's like, thanks. He goes, now, I imagine the news is not a secret. He goes, yes, I feel like the ring kind of gives it away. He goes, precisely. So, yeah. He goes, and this is cute. He goes, well, being engaged is a very special time, and I hope that you are able to enjoy it. So sweet. She's like, thank you. He goes, so how are things going around here? He goes, oh, they've been a little rocky, actually. Because she's like, Cameron has decided to resign. And she's like, what? He goes, he gave 2 weeks' notice. Came out of nowhere. Ugh. And she's like, no, this is because of me. And he looks at her. And he's like, kind of like curious. And she's like, when we went to lunch, he said he didn't think Jack was good for me. And, you know, things got heated. He goes, well, that's unfortunate. She goes, I know. You know what? I'll talk to him. Maybe I can get him to change his mind. He goes, I wouldn't get your hopes up. He seemed pretty resolved. It's like the whole point. They needed him there. So that's something they're going to have to deal with. So now we've got the bakery truck on this beautiful spot next to the lake with the little tables, and Lizzie's in there. She's texting. And Hope walks up and she goes, oh, hi. And Lizzie's like, sorry, Muriel keeps texting me questions about Ricky's send-off. It's like, we're meeting outside Connie's at 3, right? She goes, yeah, it's not that hard. She wants to know what to wear. He goes, anyway, what would you like? And Hope, she says, 25 hours a week, Monday through Friday, $20 an hour. And Lizzie's like, sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. She's like, I need to hire an aide. And you did a great job with my plants, so the job is yours. She goes, oh, wow. So I'd be working at your house? She goes, well, that's where I am most of the time. You'd help me grocery shop, take me to appointments, keep track of my medication. You're not interested. She goes, no, I am, but Denny and I kind of had a falling out, so it might be a little awkward. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. She goes, yeah, it's okay, but can I think about it? She goes, of course, just let me know. And then she like walks away so awkwardly. It's like, that's a pretty decent job. So we're back at the clinic. Cameron walks in and Mel's like, how are you? And he kind of tries to like scoot by her really quick. She's like, he's like, I thought you were gone for a few days. He goes, yeah, I was, but I just got back. And she kind of like motions with her hand, and he sees her hand, and he's like, nice ring. And she's like, oh yeah, that's where I was. It was a total surprise. And he's like, congratulations, I'm very happy for you guys. She's like, thanks. And he walks away. She goes, listen, I talked to Doc, and he said that you gave notice. She goes, yeah, I'm going to go back to San Diego. And she's like, Cameron, we don't need to talk about it. He says, I'm going to be gone in a few weeks, and let's just leave it at that. She goes, I'm sorry for the way I reacted. He goes, no, I was out of line. You did not ask for my opinion. She goes, I know, but you thought you were protecting a friend, and honestly, I respect that. He goes, I can appreciate you trying to make me feel better, but, sometimes things can't be unsaid. And she's like, it doesn't have to be a big deal. And he's like, it is a big deal to me. He goes, I feel like an idiot, and you obviously made your decision, and I can't just all of a sudden pretend to be supportive. She's like, we don't have to talk about our personal lives. He goes, yeah, but I'd still have a front row seat. He goes, I'm sorry. And he just kind of goes about his business. So we are at Liddy and Ricky's, and he's got his duffel ready. And it looks like that Liddy made him a snack and packed it up for him. And he's getting ready to go because he's going to boot camp. And he's like, Jack called, and he'll be right on time because he's going to take them to where he's going to get the bus.
And you can tell he's nervous.
Oh, he's very nervous. He's like, why don't you get your coat? And she's like, actually, I was thinking I'd stay behind. Like, she's not going to go with him. And he's like, oh? And she's like, do you have your bus ticket? He goes, yeah, it's in my backpack. She goes, what about money? He goes, I have $60 in the credit card you gave me for emergencies. He goes, let me see what I have in my wallet. He goes, you don't have to do that. She goes, okay, here we go. She gives him a little bit more money. He goes, buy yourself one of those fancy coffees when you get to San Diego. And he gives her a hug. Aw. He's so grown up now. She goes, I love you so much. And he goes, I love you too. So now we're back at the clinic. It looks like Mel was checking out Charlie. Now remember back in the beginning, Charlie would never be seen by a lady doctor. That was his thing. Like, he came into the clinic on one of Mel's first days wanting to see Doc. And because Doc wasn't there, he's like, oh, no, I don't, I don't see lady doctors. But then they had a moment because he was also adopted, and everybody was giving her issues about what to do with Chloe.
Charlie.
I love Charlie. He's so sweet. He's such a sweet guy.
Okay. The interesting thing about this show is their secondary characters are amazing.
Yeah, they're very rich. Nice backstories
And the thing is, it's not like they're there on screen for a long time like Mel and Jack and the main characters. But when they're there, they
contribute a lot. Yeah.
Oh my God, they're so amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
And it's very rare that you get a show where the secondary characters are so pronounced and so vital to the story.
Yeah.
And that they bring such richness to it that you go, wow, this really is a real...
Like, you can really appreciate all the characters for each individual person that they are.
Exactly.
So we see that now Charlie is okay with the lady doctor because clearly Mel's the one who was taking care of him. Now remember, he fell when he was out hunting with Bert and hurt his leg. So he's still recovering because that was just a mere couple weeks ago. Virgin River time is moving like a snail's pace. So he's still recovering. Mel is taking care of him, and he probably came in for a checkup, and she's like, okay, so I want you to start doing those exercises the physical therapist gave you, And he goes, why? It's not like I'm going to start taking aerobics. She goes, well, it would be nice for you to have to not walk with crutches. He goes, yeah, but it's, they're a conversation starter with the ladies because he's such a Casanova. And just as she's walking, he's adorable.
He's adorable. You didn't think an old guy. He still
got it. He still got it. So she's walking him out as Bree is walking in. And he goes, she's like, I don't think you need any help in that department. He goes, thank you. He's like, you're welcome, Charlie. And they start giggling. She's like, hey. And she's like, hey. He goes, what are you doing here? And Bree's like, I came to see the ring. And she goes, oh, it's gorgeous. And she's like, I did not think he had it in him. She's like, yeah. She goes, it's what I would have picked. He goes, have you talked about a date? She goes, no, I think we're going to enjoy being engaged for a while. He goes, okay, I get that. I like it. He goes, you deserve it. And then Cameron walks in, awkward. And he stops and he goes, oh. And then he keeps walking. And Mel's like, yeah. And Bree's like, what's up with him? And Mel shrugs her shoulders and she's like, I don't know. Now this seems like how they are as friends. Like this is something I would see them. Like this is very, they fall into this friendship that their characters have so well because they are actually really good friends. Right. And I know this was only the second season that Zibby was on the show, who plays Bree, but their friendship got really close pretty quickly.
Oh yeah.
And so,
yeah,
and
they're like sisters.
Yes, absolutely. Their friendship on and off the show, it's such good chemistry with the two of them. So Mel shrugs her shoulders because she's like, I don't know what's wrong with Cameron. And Bree can see right through that. Like, and she looks at her and she goes, yeah, you do. She goes, I know. Come outside. So they have to go dish. They gotta go spill some tea.
Mel doesn't lie very well.
No. So they go out on the porch and she's like, Cameron has decided to move back to San Diego. And Bree's like, why? She goes, well, he told me that he doesn't think that Jack is the right guy for me, and I got upset. She goes, wow, maybe him going back is a good thing, because this office is too small to be that uncomfortable. And she's like, yeah.
Amen, sister.
He goes, well, it's not really that simple, though. She's like, I know. Jack told you that I'm pregnant, right? And Bree's like, he told me not to say anything, but I'm so happy for you guys. She goes, thank you, so am I. She goes, but the problem is Doc is getting older, and if I can't come to work because of the pregnancy or after the baby's born, then he's going to be here alone, and he's going to be overwhelmed. And she goes, have you tried to talk to Cameron? She goes, yeah, it didn't go well. He goes, then there's nothing you can do. And Jack shows up, and he's like, hi, ladies. Such a doting fiance. And he's like, aw. Bree's like, you got me lunch. And he goes, aw, no. And he gives his sister a look. And then he turns to Mel and he's like, but I brought you a grilled chicken focaccia and a side salad. And gives her a kiss. He goes, oh, thank you, honey. That was very sweet. He goes, sorry, kid. I didn't know you were going to be here. She goes, oh, no. I just came to see the ring and I'm impressed. He goes, hey, you keep underestimating me. She goes, well, my estimations are based on experience. So, and she kind of pushes him on the shoulder. She goes, I need to go. See you guys later. Congratulations again. And off she goes. And she's like, you came all the way down here just to give me lunch? I mean, it's not that far, but. He goes, well, that and Nick came by the bar and wants to take us to a celebratory dinner with Joellen. She goes, oh, that's sweet. Can we do it another night? He goes, why? I don't want to let him down. She goes, yeah, I know, but I'm just having a tough day at work. And he's like, how come? He goes, Cameron is quitting. And he's like, did he get another job? And she's like, no. He goes, then why is he going? He goes, if I tell you, you're going to get offended. And he's like, babe. So cute when they call each other honey and babe and baby and all that. It's cute. He's like, babe, we're getting married and we're starting a family. I couldn't care less what anybody else says or does. So what happened? She goes, ugh. She goes, Cameron said he thinks you're unreliable. And he's like, oh, is that because I didn't show up to the wedding? She goes, yeah, and I told him he was wrong. And now he feels uncomfortable working together. And Jack's like, well, I guess he's entitled to his opinion. Okay, fine. I'll cancel dinner. Don't worry. She goes, oh, honey, don't do that. She goes, it's okay. It'll be fine. I don't want to disappoint Nick and Joellen. He's like, are you sure? She's like, yeah. He goes, you're the most compassionate human being that I've ever met. Do you know that? And he grabs her and he's holding on to her. He goes, if I didn't have to pick up Ricky, I would steal you away. And she's like, would ya? He goes, well, you can steal me another time. He goes, oh, I'm gonna. Gives her a kiss. He goes, okay, I'll see you at Connie's because they're all going to meet to give Ricky a send-off. And off he goes. He goes, love you. She goes, love you too. She grabs her lunch and back inside. Now we are at Brady's, and he is fixing his motorcycle, messing around with Jeb. And Mike shows up. And he sees him. He goes, what is he doing here? And he looks at Jeb and he's like, why don't you go in the house and grab a beer? So Jeb kind of looks at him and he was like, okay. So Jeb goes in the house. Mike walks up to Brady and Brady's like, what now? And Mike is like, you're a free man. And he's, of course, skeptical. He's looking at him like, what? He goes, turns out Deputy Howard was helping Calvin launder money. He goes, how did you figure that out? He goes, Bree. She got a lead from a DEA friend of hers and followed the money, which led to an address receiving checks made out to cash. He goes, I want to check it out. And when I get there, Howard was at the house. Pulled a gun on me, but I got the jump on him and cuffed him. He goes, it's a riveting story, but what's that got to do with me? He goes, he made a deal. He admitted to planting the gun in your truck. Ha, see? He tried to tell everybody that wasn't his gun. He goes, listen, I'm really sorry, Brady. I was just following the evidence.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to, these two, ugh. Brady's like, that's it? Case closed? And Mike's like, yeah, the DA officially dropped the charges, filed the paperwork. You are in the clear. I figured you'd want to tell Bree. And he just kind of turns around to leave. Wow. So Brady's got a little smile. He's like, satisfaction, right?
Yeah.
Like, he always knew he was telling the truth and he was doing the right thing, but... So Jack is at Liddy's to pick up Ricky, and he's trying to call Preacher, who is not answering, and he's like, I haven't heard. He calls him, leaves him a message. I haven't heard from you, man. I hope everything's okay. Because he kind of disappeared, but, you know, he's got a few things to deal with. He's a little busy right now. Just a little bit busy. He goes, just give me a call back. So Ricky is giving hugs to Liddy, and he's just telling her that, you know, I'll give you a call when I can, and I'll, you know, we'll keep in touch. I mean, he's going to boot camp. It's not like he's leaving forever. And so he grabs his bag. He goes, Liddy, you're not coming? He goes, no, we've said our goodbyes, but thank you for taking him to the station. And he's like, pleasure. So they get in the car.
Poor Liddy. Oh.
I know. And gives a wave. And drives away. I know. She waves, and he leans out the window and waves. And she goes back in the house and shuts the door and locks it. Because she hasn't been alone since he was in diapers. I think he moved with her when he was really little. Her husband died 10 years ago, so it's just been the two of them for 10 years.
Yeah. Now she's in a house by herself.
Yep.
Oh, God.
Yep. So Jack and Ricky are driving down the street. He's looking out the window. And Jack's like, so you looking forward to wearing shorts in December? He's like, what? He goes, San Diego winters are a heck of a lot warmer than up here. He goes, actually, I'm thinking more about what I'm leaving behind than where I'm going. He goes, you're worried about Liddy? He's like, yeah. He goes, but not just her. He's like, yeah, it's tough leaving someone you love behind. Sometimes a little distance can make someone realize what they're missing. He goes, aren't we supposed to be on the highway? Yeah, we got a little detour, Jack tells him. And as they pull up to Connie's, there's a whole crowd of people with signs and balloons. And he goes, what? Is this all for me? He goes, it's your name on the signs. And he goes, by the way, Lizzie organized all of this. So he gets out and he's like, wow, this is so cool. And everybody's like, Ricky. And he hugs Doc, and everybody's holding signs. He's going around hugging Joellen. He goes, oh, yours is the best. Oh, that's adorable. And then Mel sees Jack, and Jack sees Mel, and they're like, hey, hey, and he goes, didn't I just see you? And he goes, are you bored already? And she's like, no, never. Give us a kiss. And his cell phone rings, and he was like, do you mind if I take this? She goes, no, go ahead. And he's like, hey, Shar. He goes, hey, calm down. Take a breath. And everybody looking at the signs and talking to Ricky and congratulating him. And Jack's like, look, I'm sure it's probably just a business dinner. Have you had a chance to ask him?
Woman has the worst luck with men.
I know.
That's all I got to say.
I know.
She
can't get a break. You're right. I have to take Ricky to the station, but I'll call you on my way back. I mean, think about it. Who else does she have to call? If it wasn't for, like, if she was having a male problem, like men problems, just men problems, like she wouldn't call Jack, but she's carrying his babies. So that's who she's going to call, because there isn't anybody else. She doesn't really have any friends. I think the people she works with at the salon are more like acquaintances. Yeah. I don't think she has any friends. So she really doesn't have anybody else to call but Jack. So unfortunately, she has to call him to talk about her husband and some questions she has about some of his behavior. God, that must suck. Can you imagine having to do that? Like, how horrible she feels having to call Jack about her husband. Like, ugh. But he's such a good guy that she would call him. He's like, okay, well, in the meantime, just try to stay calm. Everything's going to be fine, okay? And Mel's sort of listening to the tail end of this conversation, like, what? Is everybody okay? Like, and she's like, hey, is everything okay? And he's like, ugh, Charmaine is freaked out because she found a hotel bar charge on Todd's credit card. He goes, oh, well, that doesn't mean he's cheating on her. He goes, I know, but she's sensitive about that. He goes, I don't think she has anyone else to talk to. He goes, oh, that must be such a lonely place to be in. He goes, yeah, I feel bad for her. He goes, well, you're being a good friend. He goes, well, you do the same. Yeah.
Let me explain something. You see, that would never work in certain cultures.
Right.
I have to say that.
In most relationships, that would not work. Like, I'm sorry, you actively tried to get rid of me as his girlfriend. Like, you spread rumors. You said things. You did things. You were horrible to me. But yet, they've reached a place. I mean, I think for him, it's, in a way, I feel like because she's not going to fight him about custody, it's like she could change her mind at any moment, and that could change and just make a big mess for him. And so it behooves him to...
Yeah. See, this is how you and I differ.
I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that's probably what he's thinking. I'd be like, get away from me, lady. I just feel like he's such a good guy. He's such a good person at heart.
Such a good guy. He's such a good man. And that's part of the problem is why that she counts on him, because she knows he's a good guy.
Yeah. She knows he'll do the right thing and he will be there for her regardless.
Exactly.
And because now, even though remember she said, I'm married now. And so we're good. We're fine. And if it wasn't for Mel going after you, I wouldn't have met Todd and blah, blah, blah. So I think in a way, he feels like she's no longer a threat to their relationship anymore. And the fact that she's acknowledged that she's not going to fight him to see the kids.
Right.
So they're at a place where they can, and plus I think the thing that sort of solidified it was when he was there for her at the shower. He was just supportive. Like, he didn't have to be anything with her. He just was supportive, and that's all she wanted, and she appreciated it. And so they've kind of reached a level of their relationship where they're going to co-parent, and they're going to be civil and even friendly. But he's going to be supportive because he's just a good guy. I mean, she could turn on a dime because that's who she is. That could change real quick. But she's so vulnerable right now because of what's going on with Todd that she's going to use whatever she can. And if all she can get from him is support, she's going to take it.
I guess so. And I've worked with enough pregnant women, as you know.
Yes.
To understand that the
hormones.
The hormone levels are at an all-time high, especially when you're carrying multiples. Your
Yeah.
body is in absolute chaos.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give her this, but she's getting on my last bloody nerve. Let me
Oh
tell you
no,
that
I
right
hear
now.
you. I hear you. She's a lot for sure. But,
Mm.
you know. Oh, Charmaine.
Okay. We're gonna go with it.
Yeah. She needs a little love right now because apparently her husband's not giving her any. So,
He's not even around.
yeah. So he hasn't, and that's funny because we haven't seen him since before the shower.
Yeah, I think the last time we saw him was when he had the encounter with Jack at the country club. Wasn't that the
Yeah.
last time?
Yeah, I think so. So Mel and Jack are hugging and they're walking back toward the crowd. Ricky's saying thanks to everyone and saying goodbye to everyone and shaking hands with everyone. And oh, did you see June? Do you remember June, the postal worker?
Oh, I didn't see her there.
Yeah.
Is she our favorite character?
Yeah. So if you when Mel and Jack are hugging, walking back to the crowd, and
oh, there she is.
Ricky is talking to everyone. There's June in her postal outfit standing next between Nick and Joellen. So he says goodbye to everybody. He thanks everyone. Bert's there, and even people we don't know, just random people. But Joellen and Muriel's there because she helped set it up. So everybody's there. And then Ricky turns around and Lizzie is there. So, of course, they have to take a moment. She's like, hi. And he's like, so I guess this is it, huh? And he's like, yeah, I guess so. He's like, thank you for organizing this. He goes, it was amazing. She goes, well, I couldn't let you go without making a fuss. So he's like, so see you later then? And she's like, be careful, dummy. Gives him a hug. So he like puts on a fake smile and Jack's like, hey, bud, we gotta go. He's like, bye. All right, guys, duty calls. And everybody says goodbye and waves. And they're holding up their signs. Mel grabs a sign. Everybody grabs a sign. Waving to him, holding up the sign. And he waves to everybody as he drives away. Everybody's like, goodbye, Ricky. So nice that everybody did that for him. And Lizzie looks a little sad. So they're getting to the bus. And Jack's walking him right to the door of the bus with an umbrella because it's raining. And he's like, are you ready? And Ricky's like, no. He goes, but I'm going to get on the bus anyway. He's like, I'm so proud of you. He goes, yeah, thanks. He's like, I'm just really stressed out. He goes, well, you're preparing for battle. He goes, any sane person would feel the same way. He goes, did you? And he goes, heck yeah, big time. He goes, I never let fear stop me from doing anything. He goes, listen, Ricky. He goes, I believe in you. Okay?
Oh,
it's so sweet. And he goes, and so does everyone else in town. So if you ever need anything, we are here for you always. And he's like holding the side of his face and his neck. And he goes, thanks, Jack. He goes, I love you. And he goes, I love you too, buddy. It's like his dad, sort of like a fill-in dad.
Exactly. A fill-in dad.
Big brother. And off he goes. And the reason he wanted to be a Marine was because of Jack and Preacher.
Yep.
Yep. Strong male figures that he needed. He needed a good father figure, good role models. And he watches them as he drives away in the bus. And Liddy is sitting home by herself. And there's knocking on the door and Hope's peeking in. She's like, I can't see anything. And they're like, and then they open the door and they're like, Liddy? She's like, I used my key. She goes, what are you all doing here? She goes, well, we were worried. Why didn't you go with Jack and Ricky to the bus station? She goes, well, I have things to do around here. She goes, Liddy, we know that's not the reason. So it's Muriel, Hope, and Joellen that all came over to check on Liddy. And she's like, I can't stop crying. And if Ricky had seen me like this, he never would have gotten on the bus. And Joellen's rubbing her shoulder. She goes, it's the first time that I've lived alone in a very long time. And she's like, and I miss him. I miss him already. She goes, what am I going to do without my Ricky? She goes, whenever you get lonely, you're going to call one of us to come over and be with you. She goes, you all have lives. And Hope looks at Muriel. She goes, well, Muriel doesn't. And Muriel kind of nudges her. She goes, Hope's right, though. She goes, we'll be here for you anytime, day or night. She goes, and we're here for each other. That's what we do. Aw. It's good they all have each other.
It is. And that's the great thing about living in a small town.
Oh, yeah. So now we're at this cabin. It looks like Vince has pulled up on like a four-wheeler with Paige on the back. And it's at the same place because remember there was a bicycle that we assume was used by Christopher on the ground. Mm-hmm. And so he gets off the four-wheeler. He's got a gun, and he's grabbing her and pushing her into the house. And we can see that Preacher is hiding in the same spot he was hiding before when he first went to this house. Mm-hmm. Although this time he's smart about it. So he wanted to verify that they were actually there before he did anything. So he gets on his phone, and he calls Mike. And Mike's like, hey, man. And he goes, I found Vince. He's got Paige, and he's armed. I might need a hand. He goes, where are you? He goes, I sent coordinates to a cabin at Trinity County. I need you to come. He goes, but no backup, just you. He goes, Preacher, whatever you're thinking, don't. I'm in Eureka, but I'll get there.
Jeez, do you know how far Eureka is?
We don't know where this cabin is, so maybe it's not that far. We're not really sure. So, but he wants to do this with just the two of them. I don't know if that's so smart, but we'll see.
Well, at least he called somebody.
Thank God, right? Right?
You know what I mean? Because, the last time he went there by himself.
Thank goodness nobody was there, but still. Exactly. So Preacher's like, I'm on the perimeter east side of the front door. So he's going to probably wait there as long as it takes for Mike, because he's not going to go in by himself. At least he's smart. He's going to wait, so at least it's the two of them. And Vince is a detective, and so is Mike. So they're more on the same level. So Mike's going to be a better person to like lead this charge than Preacher running in there all half-cocked by himself.
I hope so.
He's like, now you won't see me, but I'll see you. He goes, and Mike, listen, if he hears you, he may panic and pull the trigger. So Preacher's just going to hide out. So now we are back at Hope and Doc's, and there's a knock at the door, and Denny is answering, and it's Mel. And he goes, hey, is Doc home? He goes, yeah, come on in, thanks. And Doc's like, hey. He goes, I'm going to make some hot chocolates. You guys want any? And they're like, no, thanks. He goes, I'll take a cup. So Denny goes into the kitchen, and Mel's like, can I talk to you for a sec? And he's like, sure. He goes, actually, I want to ask you something, if that's okay, first. He goes, it's about Hope. He goes, as you know, her neurologist wants her to hire a home health aide, and she's offered the job to Lizzie. Oh, she goes, that's a great idea. He goes, yeah, except I don't think it's going to work out. Apparently, Lizzie and Denny had a falling out, and Lizzie, well, she said she would consider the position, but Hope doesn't think that she's going to take it. Have you talked to Denny about it? He's like, no. He goes, Hope and I both agreed. We don't want to pressure him. Now, Denny's listening to this whole conversation. So he knows that there's an issue why Hope isn't asking Lizzie or what the problem is, and he kind of feels bad about it. So she's like, she's too proud to ask her friends, for the help. And so Doc's like, just wondered if you had any suggestions. And she's like, well, hospitals usually have referrers, but, I'm happy to fill in and, until you find somebody permanent. And he's like, oh, that's mighty generous of you. Let me talk to Hope about that. She's like, yeah, sure, no problem. He goes, so what did you want to speak to me about? She's like, well, you were right. Cameron is set on leaving. So we'll just be fine without him, he says. She's like, you know what? She's like, I know that you're aware as well that I have a high-risk pregnancy and I could end up on bed rest. And the baby could come early. He goes, oh, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. And he goes, but then I know, but by the time that happens, you're going to end up doing all the work. And he goes, which if I may remind you, I was happily doing before you came. She goes, yeah, I know, but you have to admit it. It's been a lot easier with two doctors. She goes, I mean, you're able to spend more time with Hope and Denny, and they both really need you. And he goes, what are you telling me? He goes, maybe if I leave, then Cameron will stay and you won't have to hire a replacement. And he's like, what? What do you mean if you leave?
I love the look on his face. Like, what? You gotta back up there, Buttercup. What are you talking about?
Right? It's like, oh my God.
Like, was it from that show to go, what are you talking about, Willis?
Right? And he's like, look, I only want to do what's best for you. And he's like, what? I mean, she's like practically in tears. Mm-hmm. And so is he. And she's like, so I've decided to resign. And the look on his face is like shocked.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we are at, it looks like Connie's house. And Christopher's still there. And Lizzie is sort of taking care of him. And they hear somebody at the door. She's looking at some art he's doing. And she's like, go upstairs. So he runs to hide. And she gets to the door. And it's Denny. She goes, hey, can we talk? She's like, I'm kind of busy right now. He goes, please. So she lets him in. And she's like, what's up? He goes, I wanted to ask you about Hope. She offered you a job and you said you needed to think about it. She goes, yeah. He goes, are you hesitating because of me? She goes, well, I can't be around you. I feel stupid for wanting more. He goes, Lizzie, my reason for not wanting to get involved has nothing to do with you. She goes, yeah, well, I don't believe you. Sorry. He goes, no, I don't want to hurt you. He's okay. The whole point of all this. He goes, it's no big deal to Hope. I'll take the job. He goes, but I think you've been stringing me along and you're not going to change. And he kind of stops and he takes a deep breath and he's like, Lizzie, the reason I can't be in a relationship is because I don't have a future. And she's like, what? Like, look on her face. He goes, I have Huntington's disease, which is terminal. And they just kind of stand there and stare at each other.
And there we have the mic drop.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So remember, Mel and Jack are supposed to have dinner with Joellen and Nick. And it's sort of like a congratulations on your engagement. Mm-hmm. And Mel didn't want to go, but she didn't want to disappoint them. So she decided to go anyway. So they all meet at that, one of their nice restaurants. So the waiter comes up to them and he's like, what can I get you? And Nick is like, we'd like to start off with your nicest bottle of champagne. And he goes, we're celebrating an engagement. And the waiter's like, certainly, be right back. Joellen asks, so do you know what kind of wedding you'll be having? And Mel's like, what? We haven't talked about that yet. I mean, they've been engaged for all of 5 minutes,
Exactly.
And Jack's like, I wouldn't mind if feeling like a party. And he goes, well, it'll be a party here in a minute. My sister's in town and she's got to leave a day early, so I invited her to join us. Now, they don't know who Nick's sister is. And
we're all about to find out who's
right. And Nick is like, I hope you guys don't mind. And Mel and Jack are like, oh, the more the merrier, right? And he goes, oh, here she is. Jack, Mel, this is my sister, Melissa Montgomery. She's like, hello. And Jack shakes her hand. Nice to meet you. Good to meet you. Hi there. This is Mel. Now someone is taking pictures of this little meeting through the window of the restaurant, way from across like a parking lot or whatever. A few pictures, a lot of pictures. Now at the same time, Bree is coming out the back door of the bar, Jack's bar. Looks like she's got her yoga mat and her bag with her. She pops her trunk because she's parked back there. And she goes to put her stuff in the back. And she closes it. And as she closes it, Don is standing there, which scares her because she jumps. And he puts his hands up like, it's okay, it's okay. He goes, sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. And she's like, what are you doing here? He goes, I've been trying to reach you. She goes, why? He goes, she goes, no, there's nothing to say. And he's like, hey. And he goes to grab her. And she's like, don't. And she pulls away from him. She goes, I'm not trying to cause problems. I just need you to sign something. And he grabs in his jacket and he pulls it out and he hands it to her. And she looks at it and she gives him a look like, are you kidding? She goes, you want me to sign a non-disclosure agreement? He goes, it protects both of us. It says we agree not to discuss our relationship with a third party.
The boy has chutzpah, man. Let me tell you.
She throws it back at him and she's like, I'm not signing anything. And he goes, why are you being such a bitch? And she turns around and she looks at him and she's like, say that again? He goes, sign it and I'll leave you alone. You'll never have to see me again. And she's like, all you care about is yourself. I quit my job. I had to move out of town. I lost, as she gets teary, so much. She goes, but nothing changed for you, did it? He goes, look, I'm sorry if I did something to upset you. She's like, upset me? She's like, you raped me. And you're the one who should have suffered. But you know what? For all the other women in your life, I can't let that stand. He's like, what does that mean? She's like, I'm going to do what I wish I had done first. I'm going to file a police report and I'm going to press charges. And he's like, well, good luck with that. No one's going to believe you. She goes, yeah, well, we'll see about that. But if I were you, I would lawyer up, asshole. She slams her door and drives away, leaving him standing there. You go, Bree. She's done. She's done dealing with him.
Oh, he's
She is
so done.
so done dealing with him. And she finally got to the point, because before she's like, it doesn't bother me. I'm fine. I'm good. But she finally has gotten to the point where she's ready to fight. Good for her. Good for her. It took a while. She needed to get to that place. And I'm really glad that she
Yeah.
finally made it there. So they finished dinner, and Nick is pouring champagne for everyone. And she's like, Mel, you haven't touched a drop. She goes, you know what? It's kind of hard on my stomach. And Melissa's like, that or you're pregnant. And she kind of chuckles, and Mel sort of raises her eyebrows. And Joellen sits up in her chair and she goes, are you? And Mel looks
Women don't miss anything.
No, they don't. They don't. And Mel looks at Jack, and Jack looks at Mel, and they're like, and they kind of tilt their head at each other like, is it okay? And he's like, yeah. And she goes, yes, we are. And everybody's like, oh my gosh. She goes, that's so good. Wow, a double congratulations. Thanks. She's like, thanks, we just found out. He goes, we're going to toast. Everybody grab a glass. So they're all toasting. Of course, Mel and Jack are drinking with water because neither of them can drink right now.
Exactly.
And Nick's like, oh, that's fantastic. And at that time, Jack gets a text message. So he grabs his phone and he looks at it. And he's like, oh, shoot, hey. And Mel's like, is something wrong? And he goes, yeah, something's wrong with Charmaine. I have to get over there. She goes, okay, I'll come with you. And he goes, oh, sorry, guys, we have a little emergency. And Joanne's like, oh, dear. And he goes, oh, thank you so much for dinner. And they're like, you're so welcome. I hope everything is okay. And he's like, thank you. And they're like, nice to meet you, Melissa. And they're like, good night. Now, Melissa is eyeballing the two of them because you know her. She's always looking for a way to scam, make money, launder money. So she's just kind of eyeballing Jack because she's got an idea that's going to come out later. So we will put a pin in that one. Now we're back at the cabin where Vince is with Paige. Now he is pissed. He is hot under the collar and he is raging right now. And he's like, I'm so sick of your lies. And she's like, I'm not lying, Vince. And he's throwing things around and he's pointing a gun at her and he's like, you tell me what happened to Wes or I'm going to put a bullet in your head. And just as he says that, Preacher bursts through the door. He grabs Paige and he's holding on to her, pointing the gun at Preacher. And he's like, get rid of the gun. And he's like, let her go. Now they're basically just yelling at each other. Now Vince points his gun at Paige. And Preacher puts his gun down and throws it over by the door. He goes, she's going to pay for what she did to my brother. He goes, she didn't mean to kill your brother. Just like you didn't mean to shoot Jack. He goes, yeah, that was your fault. And then we go back and we actually find out what happened to Jack. Isn't it nice? We finally find out it's been how long? What was it? The finale of last season is when he got shot. So the finale of this season, we find out what really happened.
Exactly.
So what happened was Jack's at the bar by himself. Remember, he was waiting for Mel. They were cooking steaks after their night together. And Vince walks in and he says, I'm looking for Preacher. And Jack's like, he's playing poker with the sheriff tonight, but I can call him, let him know that you're here. And as he walks over to the bar, Jack grabs a knife and he kind of hides it next to him. Vince walks over to him, seeing that he probably grabbed something, and he's like, I wouldn't do that. And just as the two of them are getting close, Jack pushes the gun out of his hand and gets him with the knife. He slices him. He leans over to get the gun from Vince, and as he's picking up his phone, Vince grabs another gun that he had in his boot, because that's usually detectives and cops have a second gun hidden in their boot, or an ankle, and that's when he shoots Jack. And Jack goes down behind the bar, and just as Vince is walking toward Jack, he kicks the knife, which happens, remember where Preacher found it when there was a leak under the bar, underneath there. He kicked it. I don't even think he realized he did it. He grabs the gun that Jack had just put on the counter, and he walks off. Now he's injured, but he leaves. So Vince is now holding Paige, and he's like, tell me where you buried my brother. And Preacher's like, she doesn't know. And Vince is like, that's bull. And Preacher's like, I'm the one that buried your brother. And Vince puts the gun at Preacher, who grabs him, and then they start fighting. And he yells at Paige to go. And Paige runs to the door. The gun goes off. They're fighting. Preacher gets the gun and he throws it. The two of them are fighting, and Paige is just standing there holding the gun, but she can't really shoot anybody because they keep moving around and they keep fighting. So she screams. They fight, and Preacher goes down really hard on his head. And you see blood, which does not look good for him.
No, it does not.
And Vince gets up. You see the blood start pooling under his head. And Vince starts coming for Paige. She goes, I'll shoot you. And he's like, no, you won't. And just then, Preacher gets up and he grabs the logs that were piled next to the fire, and he whacks Vince on the back of the head. Just as all this is happening. It's like...
I can't say it didn't happen to a nicer guy.
Right? Now, at the same time, Jack and Mel show up at Charmaine's big, beautiful house. Now, it's raining. This is all happening. Where everybody is at, it's raining. So it's just like a sad night for everyone. Even the sky is crying. So Mel and Jack, they show up at Charmaine's house. And the door's open because, that's how things are in Virgin River. And they walk in and they're like, Charmaine. And they're yelling for her. And they can't find her. And they're like, Charmaine, are you here? And they start walking through the house. And Mel sees her on the floor. And she's like, Charmaine, are you okay? Now, she's in the living room. There's a fireplace going, but she's on the floor. They think she maybe could be passed out. Who knows? And Mel is a nurse. She's going to check her out. And a midwife. So this is perfect. She's like, okay, let's sit you up. Here we go. And she's helping her sit up. And Charmaine is hysterical. She is hysterical. And she's like, okay. She's like, I can't breathe. She goes, try to take some breath. She yells at Jack. She's like, call 911. He goes, try to breathe a little deeper. Let me check your pulse. Jack gets on the phone and he's like, hi, I'm calling for a friend. She's about 5 months pregnant with twins. I need an ambulance. And Mel says to Charmaine, we're going to take care of you, okay? And Charmaine is freaking out. She's like, he's going to leave me. And Mel's like, who's going to leave you? And she's like, Todd. And she goes, no, honey. Jack's telling the ambulance to please hurry. And he comes back to Mel and Charmaine. And Mel's like, just breathe. And Jack's like, the ambulance is on its way. And Charmaine is freaking out. She's like, I'm going to lose my babies. And Mel's like, no, you're not going to lose your babies. And Jack's like, okay, the ambulance is coming. And they both are crouched down on the floor with her. And Charmaine's like, this is karma. I'm being punished. And Mel's like, no, you're not being punished. She goes, I need you to focus, okay? And she's like, you need to breathe. And Charmaine's like, it's because I lied. And she's looking at Jack. And Jack's like, what? And she's all teary. And she's looking at Jack. And she shakes her head no. She goes, the twins. They're not your babies.
Oh.
And the song in the background is perfect because it's this nice melodic song. And then part of the song is like, lie, lie, lie. Like that's the lyrics of the song at that time, like at that moment. It couldn't have been more perfect. Well placed music. Just chef's kiss with this show. I swear they do such a good job.
They do.
And that's how they end it.
And that's how we end season 4, people.
What?
Wow. And that we didn't see coming. We did not see that coming because she has milked this pregnancy from the beginning.
Oh yeah.
This was Jack's baby.
Yeah.
And she did it so well.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No one saw this coming. This is like you remember when and for those of you who are too young to remember this, please forgive me. When Who Shot JR?
Yep, I remember that.
Okay, nobody saw that one coming. Nobody.
Yeah.
Of all the people, we thought who had shot JR, we didn't see who that was. That person, that woman, the woman who shot him.
Yep.
No, we didn't see this one coming either.
Not at all.
Nope, because she milked this pregnancy. Oh,
Oh my gosh. She almost had him hiring lawyers. Now, my guess is that in order for the lawyers, if that would have been the case, they would have had to do paternity because the lawyer probably would have demanded paternity tests and it would have come out then. But this was so much more dramatic.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, she's 5-ish, 6 months pregnant. I mean, he had accepted the fact that he was going to have twins. Like, he was ready.
Yep.
As much as he was shocked and didn't want it and wasn't ready, he had embraced it.
Oh, yeah.
He was going to be a dad. And that was before even Mel got pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he went from 0 to 3 kids pretty darn quick.
Oh, hell yes.
And here we are. She lied. The fact that she probably knew from the beginning,
She knew.
Oh my gosh, that means all that she put them through.
Mm-hmm.
And she lied. Mel is gonna be pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Mel, all the crap that she put them through, and it was all a lie.
Not only that, she not only dragged the two of them, she dragged the whole town into this bullshit.
Yeah, she did. But guess what? Who's the daddy?
Payback is the bitch. Mm-hmm.
Who's the daddy?
Oh, she knows who the daddy
I
is.
know, but we
Worried about that.
wait till we find out. What?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy town.
That's another shoe drop moment.
That doesn't come out until almost the end of season 5. Yeah, it's going to be a minute.
Yeah.
But now it's like see, it's kind of like the thing with Mel and Cassandra. It's like now that the baby is not Mark's, those ties are now cut and she no longer has to deal with them. And her and all of that. It's the same thing with Charmaine. The only tie that he had to Charmaine was these babies. And now that the babies are not his, those ties are done. He's finished. He could literally never speak to her again.
Yep.
Because that's like unforgivable. Like at this point, unforgivable.
I mean, the amount of hell she put that man through.
Yep. And I mean, she almost put him through a lifetime of it.
Yeah, I'd have sent her every bill I had spent on her.
Because he did everything for her. And you know they're going to talk about it. They're gonna have words. But, you know, how is he going to deal with this? Because he's such an emotional guy, but he also shuts down. You know, sometimes he doesn't want to deal with stuff. Sometimes he can't deal with it enough, especially when it comes to Mel. So this, wow. That was a big one. I mean, funny that originally the script was written that, which is so sad, that the babies were supposed to be Jack's and Mel's baby was supposed to be her husband's. Mm-hmm. That was how it was originally written. Mm-hmm. And when they decided to switch it, I mean, Alex Breckenridge and Martin Henderson, they kind of went to the writers and they're like, really? Like, you know, Alex was like, you can't do this to them. Like, for real. So after a lot of contemplation and rewriting and thinking about it, they wound up switching it because that's originally it was supposed to be very, very different as how it's turning out. So they gave Mel and Jack the baby. That was changed. And the twins are no longer Jack's, which was also changed.
Well, I'm glad for that.
Right? Like probably one of the best decisions they could have made.
Yeah.
You know, but we got to see how it all pans out. I mean, this was a rough one. Like that's a shocker.
Yeah, season 5 is going to start off with a banger, people.
I mean, everyone hoped there was a please don't let these babies. But as time went on, it's like they're Jack's. Like no one, you know, something would have to happen for them not to be Jack's. And it's like finally it did. But it's like the time just kept going. She's so pregnant. She's got Todd and they're fighting and now they're getting along and, you know, he's accepting and she's okay and they're going to co-parent. And, you know, it just seemed to be like, okay, I guess this is just the way that it is. It's like, oh, thank God. You know, like, thank you. Thank you for not having him have to deal with Charmaine the rest of his life. Like, oh, thank you. Because, that would have been bad. So, now he's just back to they can focus on themselves. Mel and Jack can finally just focus on themselves. One baby, no other distractions, get their glamping business going, keep running the bar. You know, maybe she's going to quit the clinic, but they'll figure that out. It'll be okay. Crazy. Wow. That was a crazy ending. Season 4.
Yes, it was.
Whew. Now you're going to have to put your seatbelt on nice and tight for season 5 because it's a doozy. It's a doozy.
Definitely.
All right. Well, thank you, Gigi, for another fun episode.
You're most welcome.
And
I'm looking forward to season 5.
Yep, we'll be back for more. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate all of your support and all of the people that download and listen. We'll continue to be here. You continue to listen. We'll continue to keep doing more episodes until we run out. All right.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Take care, folks.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.